Hello gamers, my name is Nitro and welcome back. The focus for today's video will be on how to win more random battles and to broadly outline what sort of factors contribute to a player's overall skill set, which can help them become better players overall. So this video will only focus on random battles. On the other hand, you've got tournament gameplay, but that is a completely different kettle of fish. But some of the concepts I will talk about in this video, they are definitely good to keep in mind as they can carry over. So before we get going, I know some of you watching are already quite experienced players. Some of the information I'm about to share, it's probably going to seem like really basic common sense, but at the same time, it's good to learn about and just also be aware of all the intricacies and mechanics of the game. A lot of us just don't think about them at all anymore. So to do this, I've selected a couple of replays from my own battle log. They just showcase a few of the major factors that I'll touch on, and I'll go over those pretty soon. I'll also add that everything I say in this video and all of my key talking points, they are my own opinion and have come about from my own observations by playing this game over the years. So of course there'll be a number of things I don't mention in this basic guide of a video, but on the things that I will touch on, I'll just say I think they're pretty important. They've definitely been a major factor in my 75% win rate over the course of almost 100,000 battles over the years. So just before I get into the replays, I think it'll be quite helpful to give you a general definition of a player's skill and what that comprises. In my opinion, it consists of only two main things, and each one is just as important as the other. So the first thing is a player's mechanical skill. This is something that the vast majority of players on the server improve on over time. It involves things like your ability to aim and pen your shots. It's the way you angle your tank and draw bounces from the enemy. And just to put it simply, it's your overall raw skill with your fingers and how good you are. So being a mechanically skilled player, it can get you out of many tricky situations in a game. And realistically, the only way you can improve it is just by practicing regularly over time. So that brings me to the next thing, which is your decision making. So I believe this is what separates the good players from the bad. And as far as random battles go, a key component of your decision making is your macro positioning. So this is what part of the map you go to at the start. So for example, are you playing in the town or have you gone out to the desert on Oasis Palms? On the other hand, you've got your micro positioning, which involves how you're using the terrain around you. So in this example, making quick pokes, not exposing your tank, just getting the job done nice and quick. Or you could be poking like a complete fucking monkey, trading away all your hit points unnecessarily, throwing the game for your team. So your micro positioning could also be whether you're side scraping off a building and shooting enemies like that, or if you're just wide poking around the corner and showing half your tank. So all these micro positioning concepts, they fall under your mechanical skill, I would say, and not as much your broad decision making in game. But as for the rest of your decision making, every game is different. You're going to have to make different decisions in each game. That's why this game's so addictive. Every game's different, so you could be making decisions like pushing one side of the map or holding it, or even running away and rotating to push another side. Or it could just be simple things like which target to shoot when you've got a few of them in front of you, just to focus fire them out. Alright, so I don't want to sound like Droodles and yap like a brain-dead moron for ages, so let's get into the battle, shall we? So in this first replay, I want to touch on positions of power. In the case of Port Bay, the map I'm on now, most battles are fought at the sea cap area. With that in mind, I'm headed towards the main position of power, in my opinion, which is across the river into the physical corner of the map. And I would characterize this as a position of power purely because of the damaging crossfire you're able to put in to tanks over at the sea cap itself. And it usually is a competitive sector of the map, so as you can see, the STB is coming to contest this area as well. So you'll have to decide whether or not to defend the position against the other tanks trying to contest it, or if you want to take advantage of the crossfire opportunities and shoot the tanks playing at the C cap as well. But you've got to keep in mind, if you are putting your crossfire in while there are opposing tanks here, they will either be shooting you or your team at C as well. So you'll have to decide which tanks to prioritize. I didn't cross into the deep corner. I sensed tanks were pre-aiming, and sure enough they were. So I'm starting to crossfire the tanks out now, and then I've noticed an E6 has come to shoot me for some reason. I'm not sure why he would take that path. Maybe because I'm a big famous YouTuber now, but as you can see, it's not working out for him. He'll go down in a second. Fucking idiot. So now I've secured the corner for my team. Now I can continue to put some effective crossfire into the enemy tanks. And the game's as good as won now. We've got all the good positions. My tanks are holding at C. And it just really depends on me clearing out these vehicles. And that should be the game wrapped up. On to the next replay now. I am on Desert Sands in my Rinoceronte. The focal point of this battle is making educated guesses regarding team lineups and choosing where to best position yourself early on. When loading into this battle, I immediately noticed that we have 2 mobility tanks while the enemy has 3. And that tells me that the brawl over at the A cap area, or the dunes, will be very hard to win. So I've decided to go and support my team out there, because I don't want to lose that brawl and have them flank me in the town. So I go under the bridge here, just so I can pop some crossfire shots into their Batchat. He's not very happy about me being here, so enjoy another example of me being blatantly tunneled by an absolute moron. Off he goes. And now that the enemy's advancing in town, we have no choice but to entirely clear this side of the map. So I'm pulling forward here. E50 is the next focus. But Progetto has other plans for me. But that's beside the point. The point of this replay was just to show that if you read team lineups and position yourself early on, you'll give yourself a better chance of winning the game. So killed the Batchat immediately, put some crossfire into the E50, forced him to move into a sort of undesirable position for him. He got quickly taken out because of that. He didn't want to get shot by me. And now the enemy heavies, in response to this move I made, they've put themselves in terrible positions. So we can see that E100, he's a German super heavy. He lasted all but 30 seconds pushing into that spot. And yeah, now we're 3 tanks up, not even 2 minutes into the battle. Game's already won, yet again. In this last battle, I'm going to emphasize how important it is to be constantly adding value to your team at almost every moment. Positioning well, and also reacting to information in a high tempo game. And what I mean by high tempo is that the game's progressing extremely quick. So we all know there's 7 minutes in every battle, but in a high tempo game like this, there's a lot of movement early on. Things happen quite quickly and you've got to react to the information given to you. So I've just done my little spotting run. I've found 3 tanks headed towards this sort of town side of the map. I've seen on the mini-map that all of my team have sort of stacked the outside or the hills area. And what that tells me is we have to clear the tanks that have been sent here as well. Because if we just stay here, the enemies who went to the town will come through the middle of the map, put us all in a crossfire, and we'll be pincered in one sector. And it's just, we're sitting ducks at that point. So me and my platoon mate F Silver, we synergized very well, I would say. We've sensed what we had to do. We've cleared the 263 really quick. Now the KPZ-50T is our next target. And as you can see, I'm mindful of my positioning at every moment. I am at the back of the map. I am farming consistently, however, but I did expect their tanks to be rolling through the mid as they are now. That's the only path they can really take to respond quickly to what me and my platoon mate did. So we've cleared them now. And I'm still being mindful of my position, unlike the 268. He didn't foresee what was going to happen. He put himself in a terrible spot. and he paid the ultimate price for it, getting heshed like a fucking retard. So now entering the late game stage, me and my platoon mate, we are still alive. I'm just trying to constantly add value. So my job as a light tank is to keep providing information to my team. I have to keep being useful in doing that, so I'm spotting every single movement by the enemy team that I can. Found those two. Not sure where the Kran is at the moment. Thankfully that M60 does go down. And I've been mindful of my hit points up until now, so I can move up and be a tad more aggressive, always looking for crossfire angles. Don't want to be engaging tanks front on from the same angle every time. I have got this T-57's attention now, so he's coming towards me. And something that not a lot of players do is they don't pay attention to shooting tracks or damaging modules much, so I'm always trying to track this T-57. Either keep him in place or make him waste his repair kits. It's a seriously underrated thing to do in battles. I'm just always looking for tracks, shooting fuel tanks, ammo racks, just always trying to inconvenience people. So that T-57 died in a nice 3-way crossfire, and now we've got a few angles on this Kranvan. And once again, game's done, reacted well to information, positioned well, and conserved all our HP. That brings me to the end of this little guide video. Hopefully I didn't waffle on too much for you guys, but I also hope some of you learned a few things, or at least have a better grasp of some of the basics of the game. If you enjoyed the video, please show your support. Let me know if you'd like me to dive into some of the more technical aspects of Blitz and reveal some valuable insights at a high level. But that wraps it up, so thanks for watching, and I hope to give you all a nice big golden shit on the battlefield.